recently passed away, and in both he was here, he presented many his presentations, and this is a tragedy. We extend our condolences, our sympathy, our thoughts are with you and your family. She is here. We are honored that you are here. Madame Asiatou, she is the president of Swiss Guinea Humanitarian NGO with special ECOSOC status. Sohaib Basir Naveed, he will join us via Zoom from Canada, Executive Director, International Human Rights Council. Our friends, Fazl Rahman Afridi Sahib, President IRESK, Haber Institute for Research and Strategic Studies. Ms. Ranjiza Noor, Human Rights and PTM activist. She is here and she will speak about the miseries of the Pashtun women and the people who are facing their atrocities in her area. We have our friend Mashriq Iqbal Sahib, he is the president of Pashtun Tahfaz movement based in Italy. Mr. Rehman Khalilur, he is the president of International Forum for Peace for a Secular Bangladesh in Switzerland. We have Mr. Jamil Masood, Central Secretary Foreign Affairs Committee, United Kashmir People's National Party. Mr. Sajid Hossain, he was the moderator of today's meeting, but he is waiting in UN for his intervention. He might join us soon. Mr. Munir Mengal is also on the way. He will join us. Okay. Mr. Munir Mengal, he is the president of Global Vice Association. Welcome, sir, here. And later we will open floor for our friends. If anybody will have comments or questions, then we will ask them and give them floor. I would like to give the floor to for introductory speech, Mr. Jamil Masood, who is the Central Secretary Foreign Affairs Committee, United Kashmir People's National Party. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, members of global civil society, representatives of Pashtun nations through Pashtun Tahfaz movement, Pashtun Protection movement, PTM, our friends of United Kashmir People's National Party, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I welcome all of you at this August conference, which the Jammu Kashmir International People's National Alliance organized at the side event of 50th regular session of the United Nations Human Rights Council here in Geneva. Dear friends, we are all here because of one single reason, that our country, which was a historical state established on 16th of March 1846 under Treaty of Understanding between the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir and the British. And that state was attacked by the blessings of very same colonial power and their stooges in different shapes, and we were divided into three pieces. A state which is known as Little Iran and Switzerland of Asia is divided. So the people are divided, so the languages are divided, so the cultures are divided, so their traditions are divided. And in some areas, like as Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir regions, are two major parts which are formerly known as Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, where people have deprived of having their own culture, their own language, their own history, and they are passing through a very painful era of their modern history. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, I would precisely bring into your attention, since most of our friends are representing such non-governmental organizations, those are enjoying ECOSOC status within the UN, that the government of Pakistan has misinterpreted the UN resolutions. The United Nations resolutions on Jammu and Kashmir plead that Pakistan have to withdraw its forces and have to establish local authority. And today, the very same local authority, where we do have a Prime Minister, a President, an Assembly, also a High Court and Supreme Court, but all these institutions, whether they are constitutional institutions or juridical institutions, they are toothless because of the colonial hegemony of Islamabad through interim constitution of 1974. And in the preamble, the 1974 constitution reads that this area would be the base camp to liberate the area which is under the administration of India, and where people have been enjoying more political, economical, cultural and other rights before the rise and before the inception of Pakistani-backed proxy militancy in 1986-87. So in the result of that proxy movement, the people have lost their autonomy, they have lost their freedom, and they have lost many freedoms which they were enjoying before. So that was an unfortunate start in Indian administrated Jammu and Kashmir, but in Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir, when we call Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir, it has a valid reasons that the United Nations resolutions asked Pakistan to withdraw your forces, but they never complied with their promises, with the recommendations, with the resolutions passed by the UN Security Council or United Nations Commission for India-Pakistan. And notwithstanding, they stopped playing international politics and they joined Sito Center and Baghdad Pact to please the United States against United Socialist States Republic, USSR. So dear friends, I will bring few points into your attention that we do not have freedom of assembly, freedom of association, freedom of expression in Pakistani administrated areas under Pakistan, under the colonial rule of Pakistan, and in the very same interim constitution 1974, Article 7, interestingly, it is under the chapter of freedom of expression. So how they guarantee freedom of expression to the people of their own administrated Kashmir, that sub-article 3 reads, no person or political party in Azad Jammu and Kashmir shall be allowed to take part in activities which are prejudicial or detrimental to the ideology of state accession to Pakistan. So the very same They have drafted oaths for the office of Prime Minister, for the office of President, and MLAs, members of the legislature, ministers, judges of High Court and Supreme Court, that they will remain loyal to the state of Pakistan. So this was not the mandate of government of Pakistan to impose such illegal and unconstitutional laws on the whole administration. So today we are ruled by 4 powerful elected officers: the Chief Secretary, the IGP Police, the Secretary Finance, and Secretary Health. And interestingly, the Secretary Health is always a serving Major General of Pakistani military who takes 2 salaries, one as from the military and one as a Secretary Health in our local administration. And our entire health department is run by Pakistan Army Military Corps. And now it is another thing that I would like to share with you, that many of female lady doctors and female paramedic staff from various combined military hospitals complained through social media that they are harassed, and military officials and their local staff try to rape them, and they are silenced. And as an experiment, one lady doctor updated her Facebook status, and when people start talking and condemning that attempt, she was compelled to delete her social media status from the Facebook, that you are not allowed to speak about such kind of things. Our students are deprived of having their history, culture, language, even the books of Jammu and Kashmir history has been confiscated under the pretext of National Action Plan years before. Our natural resources are plundered since 70 years. In 1947, we had 75% of forest land, and today it left only 15%. And all that timber is going to the market of Punjab via Rawalpindi. And we are not allowed to use the very same wood. In district Neelam, we have mountains of rubies and other precious minerals, but the local people cannot go there, they cannot be benefited of those resources. The military has just to install one board, out of bound. It is not allowed for the local people. It is military area. So all those areas which has some attraction for the tourists are now under the occupation of Pakistani military in the name of defense, that we are defending this territory. No. Through this august stage, I will inform you that we are not being defended by Pakistan. But of course, yes, we are plundered, we are murdered, we are sidelined, and even we are disenfranchised if we do not say, all right, or submit an oath of loyalty. Even we are not provided a tip of water. So that is the governance, that is the system which they have imposed on both the regions, Gilgit-Baltistan and so-called other Jammu and Kashmir. And some of their lobbyists, when they come to international fora, they shamelessly advocate that there is no problem under Pakistan and people are enjoying fundamental human rights. Maybe they have to read once again about the definition, implementation, practices, and the history of fundamental human rights. And before going to end, I would extend my condolences to Madam Mrs. Katala, because We all, as a team, have been working with him, and he has always been very kind with us. We have enjoyed a fatherly love from that noble man. I, on my personal behalf and on behalf of United Kashmir People's National Party, pray for his soul. Rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jamil Masood, for your detailed presentation. Now, I would like to give floor to Mr. Rahman Haligur. He is the President of International Forum for Secular Bangladesh in Switzerland, because he has other engagements and he has to go. He was healthy, and you have the floor, sir, please.
Thank you, Thomas. Dear friend Nasir Bhai, in this honorable event, our Honorable President Shaukat Ali Kashmiri of the UKPNP President, and all the honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this floor, and before several times, I spoke some topics that what happens in 1971 in Pakistan. Military has tortured in Bangladesh. There is a history. 3 million people has been killed, genocided by the Pakistani military. And the history is that 1971, 9 months liberation war, our 300,000 women has been raped by the military, Pakistan military. More than 10 million people has crossed the border. They was refugees in India. This history has been passed in 50 years. And this history, we every time have get solidarity, to ask solidarity to all the Kashmiri peoples, Pashtun peoples and our Dalit peoples. I am very satisfied, I am very grateful all of those who are solidarity with us. And this time I have an achievement. Last 3 years we have a demonstration, several manifestations, several memorandum in United Nations. And this year of the 50th session of the Human Rights Council, we get in agenda, we have a going to a resolution in United Nations General Assembly. This has sent from the General Assembly of the Human Rights Council, 30 June to 8 July. There is the agenda item 3. So we are faces now the Pakistan embassy, Pakistan government. What they have tortured in 1971, they have to apologize right now. They have to apologize Bangladesh. They have to apologize all those peoples who are victimized by the Pakistani military. Still now, they are torturing in our Dalit Bhais, Pashtun Bhais, our sisters in the occupied Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir, all of those peoples who are victimized by the Pakistan military. We have the solidarity before and all those time, and still now in future we have the solidarity. We have the achievement in United Nations, have the agenda right now, and in future we will see is very future all the Jammu Kashmir girls and the Pashtun, all who are in occupied Pakistan, they will get the freedom, inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman Haligur. I am also thankful to all PTM activists who are present here. We have honor that you people are present here. I want to special thanks to my friend Oscar. He was very active in UN. He has been coming in our events. Unfortunately, he has some health issue. We can see he cannot move properly. And we wish you a good health and speedy recovery. Thank you for your presence. Now I would like to Dr. Joseph Konsi Aya is the Executive Director of the Center for Human Rights and Peace Advocacy. You have the floor, sir.
Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a great honor for me and a privilege to stand before great people like you to share with you my experience, my learning, my everything that I've gathered around the issues of human rights. I thank especially the organizers of this assignment, which is coming in during the Geneva Council, the Secret Human Rights Council. And my prayers are that as we move on, let what we discuss and heard, which is going along with to enforce the right to freedom of expression. And on this note, I would like us to honor my own freedom of expression, which I'm going to ask you to stand up for a while. Everybody. I'm very sorry if I know you are speaking and you're not getting me. I'm saying that I would like you to honor my own freedom of expression by honoring what I will ask you to do. And I'm asking you to stand up, everybody.
He's asking for everyone to stand up, please. For a while.
The reasons we are standing up is to honor those who have passed away as a result of their intention, their wishes to express their opinion. Those who have been sacrificed, those who have been assassinated, those who have been murdered. And in one word we say, may their soul rest in peace. Amen. Please be seated. When I was listening to Mr. Khan, he used one important word, fundamental human rights. And to this fundamental human right, I will add one other word, fundamental and basic. I will add fundamental and basic human rights. This simply means that that which is fundamental is that which we are born with, and we can never take it away. That which is basic are those things that make us to live, that which God has given us from creation. So fundamental and basic are twin. They go hand in hand. You cannot take one away. By trying to take one away, you are trying to dehumanize a person. And so the freedom, the right to freedom of expression is as fundamental as the right to live. The right to live, the right to life, and all things related to them. And we know, we are told that those who are Christians and those who are of different religions, whether Buddhists, whether Muslims, they have a central understanding of creation. That there was a supreme being, Christian called God, Muslim called Allah, who created. In the Christian religion, they say they created the first human being called Adam and discovered that he was alone. Discovered that he was alone, and he wanted to create, and therefore decided to create a companion. Now, what is behind it is that when he created Adam and saw that he was alone, he saw that Adam had a fundamental right to express himself, and he could not be talking to God all the time. So he decided to create a companion with whom he would always talk and communicate. Therefore, from the sociological aspect of this meaning, this right, it means that the right to freedom of expression is as fundamental and as basic as we live. And since everybody, whether the person is speech problem, whether this person is capable of speaking, means that every natural human being would like to express his or herself in a given manner. And the international community, seeing into it that this is fundamental and basic, decided to regulate it. And when it regulated it, it put it in international law. And I want to talk to you on the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. In its Article 19, it regulates and gives the right to us. And for your information, any instrument that is a covenant, that is a resolution, is legally binding upon the states that signs and ratify that. And so all the states, including Pakistan, has a legal obligation to respect this right. And so in our Article 19 of that convention, or covenant, it states three things. One, the meaning of freedom of expression means that everyone has the right to hold an opinion. It's fundamental. The right to hold an opinion. And this opinion must not be interfered by any person. It is your opinion. And your community, your state, therefore must respect it. And two, everyone has the right to seek and dispatch information. To seek and dispatch information. I'm sure Munir Nagel, as a powerful journalist, understand this very well. Because you can only communicate that which you have sought for. And so it falls therefore under access to information. Do we all have access to information when we need this information? This is going to reinforce the meaning of the right to freedom of expression. And the third one is that the holder, the seeker of this information, has the right to divulgate this information, to put it out to the public, to put it out to his listeners. And this freedom of information includes political discussion. If you like political discussion, I hope I'm using the microphone well. If a journalist is here, can help me on how to use the microphone well. So this right relates to political discourse. Do we have the right to discuss our political opinion? To discuss the way we would like our state to be governed? If we are prosecuted, if we are stopped, if we are suffocated because we want to air our political opinion, then it is nothing other than violation of our fundamental and basic rights. And we also have the right to comment, to make commentaries about our opinion, about our affairs, and about public affairs. To comment about our affairs and to comment about public affairs remain as fundamental and a basic tenet to good governance, basic tenet to democracy. We also know that this issue of the right to serve, freedom of expression, may involve issues that might be very sensitive. And when it involves issues that might be very sensitive, it therefore becomes regulated by some restriction. And so while we claim the right to freedom of expression, we must know that this is restricted. It is restricted in Article 19, Sub 2 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Article 19, Sub 2 restrict it. And it restricts it only at 3 levels, or 3 basic levels. 1, if what you want to put out to public relates to the to jeopardize some personal integrity, if it has to do with people's integrity, this law says that it should be restricted. It means that in as much as you have the right to hold opinion, to express it, you don't have the right just to talk anything about people when it relates to their dignity and to their personal integrity. You don't have the right to do that. If you do that, you can relate to defamation, you can relate to so many things, and you'll be held responsible. It is also restricted when what you want to divulgate, put out, relates to state security. And state security is intrinsically linked to public order. If your opinion, your right to express yourself has to do with endangering the state, inviting the enemies of the state to come in, that is regulated. And it also has to do with divulging or putting to public military secrets of every state. It is not allowed. And so I want to say that while we claim our rights to freedom of expression, we should know that this right, like any other right, goes hand in hand with function, responsibility, the duty to care. And so when we look at it, basically, we realize that all the things that we put together and make claims must be done in a manner that is acceptable by our own, even our own tradition, even our own laws. But note that before this right is restricted, the state concerned must clearly put it in its law. And this law must not be arbitrary to restrict freedom of, or to prohibit freedom of expression. It must be that which is seen to be acceptable, and the conditions are those ones that I have mentioned. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I was asked to talk only for 5 minutes. I'm sure I've spoken only for 4. I want to take the last 1 minute to say that as the Jammu Kashmir people continue to ask for their freedom of opinion, which relates directly to their political opinion, to their political discourse, may this be done from rooftop to rooftop, block by block, and from door to door, because we must achieve it, and I wish we will. God with that end.
Thank you very much.
This clap does not look like what I have put out. Our hands speaking. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your very educative presentation and for your support and your guidance. And we highly appreciate your support. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to give floor to Mr. Fazal Rahman Afridi. He is the president of IRESK, Apple Institute for Research and Strategic Studies. You are the floor, sir.
you listen to me? Thank you very much. Sablan Aziz and President of the UKPNP, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, ladies and gentlemen. This conference organized today is on the state of human rights and freedom of expression in Pakistan and occupied Kashmir. And really, I would like to restrict myself to 5 minutes, or I think maybe my friend, Dr. Joseph Chauncey, he was right that he took 5 minutes. So, Dr. Joseph Chauncey, he really defined and explained in a very scholarly way, giving the examples of the United Nations Covenant, especially Article 19, on the freedom of the right of the freedom of expression. And he discussed the limitations also of the freedom of expression. But I would like to just disagree on one point. I cannot disagree because it's already there in the United Nations conventions. But the restrictions related to the security of the state, and it's always under the pretext of the security of the state that most of the human rights defenders and the journalists, they are arbitrarily detained, they are tortured, and their right to freedom of expression is stifled. So now I would like to come to Kashmir. Right from the creation of Pakistan, Kashmir was divided, and our Kashmiri brothers are suffering for the last 74 years. And their basic fundamental rights, I used basic and fundamental rights, both of them, they are trampled by the state of Pakistan. And the only solution to this long and very painful partition is the unification of the Kashmir. I hope one day we will see a unified Kashmir. We are here in Switzerland, and people, compare Kashmir with the Switzerland of Asia. So hopefully this Switzerland of Asia will be united, and the people who are suffering, they will be free, they will enjoy their freedom of expression, they will enjoy their lives, and they will enjoy their resources. As our colleague Jamil Masood has said that our resources are looted and plundered by the state of Pakistan. And the same is the case with the people of Pashtun regions in Pakistan. I call it Pakistani occupied territories. So our resources, for example, electricity, it is produced in NWP, the hydro electricity, which is very cheap. It is produced in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I think it costs 1 rupees. And the same electricity is then transferred to Lahore. The distribution of the whole system of electricity is in Lahore. And the same electricity is then resold to Pashtun people on 19 rupees. And plus, they are always, we face load shedding. We produce about more than 4,500 megawatt of electricity. And our consumption is 1,500 megawatts. But even that electricity is not given to us. Similarly, oil and gas is produced in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Karak and other regions. And the refineries are constructed in Multan. And even that gas, is not provided to the local people. And that there is a pipeline to Multan, where the people of Punjab are enjoying, our resources. So not only the freedom of expression, but our resources and even our history is distorted and destroyed, just like Kashmiris. So after the Kashmiri, Baloch are also suffering right from the beginning from the Pakistani occupation. And then our Bengali brothers, they also suffered worse kind of human rights violation and even genocide. More than 3 million people were killed and more than 300,000 women were raped and tortured. And then, for the last 20 years, Pashtuns are also suffering the same thing in Ex-Fata and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Here, under the so-called war on terror, about 75,000 people have been killed, 32,000 are possibly disappeared, and millions of Pashtuns were displaced. And even still in Baka Khalkin and other areas, there are internally displaced people who are not provided even the basic facilities in Pakistan. So there are so many things to discuss and talk about in Pakistan. Hopefully all these oppressed people will get their rights, will get their freedom from this fascist state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Rehman Afridi side. Same is happening with the people who are living under Pakistani occupation. We are the owner of the rivers. They constructed dams over rivers. This territory is disputed. Pakistan was not allowed to build such mega projects, but she built dams. They are exporting electricity to Pakistan and reselling us on the very high prices, and people are facing load shedding from 15 to 18 or sometimes 24 hours. There is no electricity and no royalty as well. All natural resources are plundered, and we are very much hopeful and we are optimists. We are continue our struggle that our motherland state of Jammu and Kashmir will reunite and independent someday, hopefully sooner or later, but we are optimistic and we continue our struggle. Thank you, sir, for your support and solidarity. And I would like to welcome Mr. Sajid Hussain, who just joined us because he was waiting in UN for his intervention. He was in original plan, he was the moderator of this conference, and but now I will give floor later to him and he will share his view with us. Now I would like to give floor to Ensemble Maluba. He is the president of CIRAG, to say a few words. Sir, you have the floor.
Bonsoir à tous. Le CIRAG que je représente est très heureuse en fait d'être ici parmi vous pour apporter son soutien à nos amis, le peuple frère du Cachemire. Nous sommes donc réunis dans ces lieux pour leur apporter tout notre soutien. Notre soutien total au combat qu'ils mènent depuis de très longues années nous nous tenons à vos côtés, chers amis du Cachemire, pour vous dire notre solidarité. Notre solidarité pour que cette cause triomphe, en dépit des vents contraires, en dépit des forces contraires, qui font en sorte que les droits fondamentaux du peuple ami du Cachemire ne soient pas reconnus. Je ne doute pas qu'avec l'appui de toutes les bonnes volontés unies dans ce même idéal, la victoire puisse être à portée de main. La victoire arrivera même si ça traîne, même si ça prend du temps, mais nous sommes sûrs que seul le combat serait difficile, mais qu'avec l'appui de tous les amis du peuple du Cachemire, la victoire sera certainement au rendez-vous. En effet, ce problème de l'occupation du Cachemire est très ancien, mais rien ne peut vaincre la détermination d'un peuple qui veut absolument obtenir ce qu'il veut. Rien ne pourra le vaincre. C'est ce message que j'ai tenu à partager avec vous ce soir. Je vous remercie infiniment.
President, thank you for your solidarity and support to people of Kashmir, and we are highly grateful for your support, your cooperation. We have been working together in UN. His brother Maluza, he was very kind, he was a great person, great comrade. He also died a few months ago, and we miss his presence here in UN, here in these conferences. Mr. Katala and Mr. Maluza, he were very nice personality. They supported us in UN mechanism. And our solidarity and condolences to you, sir, as well, and your family. And they will remain in our hearts and minds always. They were a great activist, and they contributed a lot for the betterment of the people. Guys, thank you, sir. Now I would like to give floor to Madame Asietu. She is the president of Swiss Guinea Humanitarian NGO with special ECOSAC at United Nations. Madam, you have the floor, please.
Je disais bonjour à toutes et à tous.
Bonjour.
Je suis très heureuse d'être là encore après la crise du Covid. Nous nous retrouvons avec les responsables du peuple de Cachemire. Eh bien, moi, je suis d'accord avec mon frère. Je suis d'accord avec lui. Il faut espérer, il faut persévérer. Nous sommes là pour ça. On est ensemble. La Guinée humanitaire est avec le peuple de Cachemire pour ce combat, pour ce lutte. Ce n'est pas la première fois ni la deuxième fois nous sommes là. Et nous les soutenons vivement. Moi, maintenant, aujourd'hui, ce que je vais proposer aux responsables, c'est pour les deux peuples, l'Ouest et l'Est. Et donc, moi, j'aimerais bien un jour qu'on organise un débat sur place pour discuter de ce problème, si c'est possible. Voilà, je vous remercie.
Now I would like to give floor to Mr. Lamin Dianko. He is the president of Africa Culture International. He is our long associate and he is very kind to us. And thank you, sir, for your presence.
messieurs, je suis très heureux aujourd'hui d'être parmi ces invités, de pouvoir débattre de ce problème qui est une problématique qui touche en particulier le monde entier, qui sont les droits de l'homme. Mais c'est le sujet qui quand même me touche énormément parce que c'est un sujet qui parle de liberté d'expression et de l'occupation. J'avoue que sans la liberté, on est privé de tout le droit, de manière générale. Permettez-moi avant tout d'abord d'adresser mes vifs remerciements au président Socrate, Kashmiri, Aziz Nasser et toute son équipe de fervents militants du diamant de Cachemire. Le sujet qui nous réunit cet après-midi est un phénomène qui nous préoccupe tous, tant que nous sommes dans cette salle. La situation des droits de l'homme et la liberté d'expression au Pakistan. En réalité, une population privée de liberté d'expression est réduite en esclavage, si je peux m'y exprimer. C'est une pure violation des droits fondamentaux de la personne. Voilà des années que dure cette lutte. Mais soyez-en sûrs qu'une lutte sans relâche finit par être gagnée. Et je suis sûr que vous la gagnerez un jour. Et j'en suis persuadé que vous la gagnerez un jour, cette rude bataille. Car elle est rude, vu que ça fait des années et des années que vous y êtes. En qualité de président directeur général d'ACI Human Rights, je vous renouvelle mon soutien et vous encourage davantage à aller de l'avant, sans restriction, pour que cette lutte noble que vous soutenez puisse un jour trouver des résultats significatifs. Je finirai par remercier en particulier le président Chokrat, Nazir, pour votre lutte fervente que vous êtes en train de mener toutes ces années. Je vous encourage. Merci bien de votre attention.
Mr. Lamindianko, we are thankful to you for your presence here and for your support. Now I would like to give floor to our friend, Mr. Kaiman Mashtigawad Sahib. He is the president of Pashtun Tahfiz Movement Italy. You have the floor.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। सब दोस्तों को सलाम। बहुत बहुत मेहरबानी नासिर भाई, शौकत साहब, बहुत मेहरबानी कि आप लोगों ने हमको इन्वाइट किया इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए। हम जब कॉन्फ्रेंस देते हैं, धराते हैं आप लोगों के साथ, या हमारा अपना कॉन्फ्रेंस होता है पश्चिम मूवमेंट की, जब हम बलोच भाई को देखते हैं उधर और कश्मीरी भाई को, तो फिर हमारा दिल इस तरह बड़ा हो जाता है। हम बोलते हैं क्या ये लोग भी मजलूम है और ये भी हमारे तरह पाकिस्तान आईएसआई के शिकार हो चुके हैं, और फिर देखते कि आप हमारे साथ खड़े हैं और हमारे कॉन्फ्रेंस पे आते हैं और प्रोटेस्ट पे आते हैं, तो हमको प्राउड होते हैं और हम बहुत खुश भी होते हैं कि हम एक है। अभी पाकिस्तान का जो नया ड्रामा चल रहा है, जो टीटीपी की और आईएसआई के बीच में जो जंग हो रहा है, पीस के लिए जो बात हो रही है, और उसके पीस की बात जो है ना, अफगानिस्तान की जो इस्लामी इमारत है वो कर रहे हैं। अभी टीटीपी और आईएसआई के बीच में जंग हो जाएगा, फिर उसका पीस हो जाएगा, तो फिर आईएसआई फिर टीटीपी से तहरीक तालिबान पाकिस्तान से उसको फिर यूज़ करेगा, और किधर यूज़ करेगा? अफगानिस्तान में यूज़ करेगा और कश्मीर में यूज़ करेगा। एक बड़ा जंग या नया जंग आने वाला है। इस जंग के लिए हमको भी तैयार होना है, क्योंकि सालों सालों से आईएसआई पाकिस्तान जो पंजाब है, जो जनरल होते हैं, जो बाजवा होते हैं ये लोग सब, इसलिए ये जनरल बनते ताकि कश्मीर को लूट सके, कश्मीर की जो सरजमीन है उसको लूट सके और इस तरह बलूचिस्तान को लूट सके और पश्तूनिस्तान को और अफगानिस्तान को और जितना हमारा सरजमीन का जो अल्लाह ने हमको नियामत दी उसको ये लोग लूटते हैं। तो ये जंग आने से पहले हमको पश्तूनों को, बलोचों को और कश्मीरी को, इस नेशन को सबको इकट्ठे होना है ताकि हम लोग इस लोगों के साथ अपनी दिफा कर सके। अगर इस तरह पश्तून अलग हो, बलोच अलग हो, सिंधी अलग हो और कश्मीरी अलग हो, फिर हम इस लोगों का दिफा नहीं कर सकते, मुकाबला नहीं कर सकते लोगों का। तो इस लोगों के लिए हमको इकट्ठे होना है, क्योंकि अभी जो पंजाब है वो सबका दुश्मन है, हमारा सबका दुश्मन एक है। तो हम कौमों को भी एक संगठन बनाना है जो ताकि हम इस लोगों के साथ मुकाबला कर सके। इस लोगों ने हमारा सरजमीन को लूटा है, इस लोगों ने हमारे जवानों को शहीद किया है, इस लोगों ने हमारी इज्जत को लूट लिया है, इस लोगों ने जो भी हमारे सरजमीन कश्मीर में, बलूचिस्तान में, पश्तूनिस्तान में जितना भी सब कुछ है इस लोगों ने लूटा है, हमारी इज्जतों को भी इस लोगों ने नहीं छोड़ा। तो कि हम इस लोगों के साथ मुकाबला कर सके तो हमको ये इकट्ठे होना है और इस जंग के लिए तैयार होना है। बहुत मेहरबानी नसर साहब।
Mr. Gavadsa, our friend spoke about the need of unity among oppressed nations, whether they are Pashtuns, Balochs, Hindis, Kashmiris. He says their enemy is very strong. Unless we will not have unity, we cannot success. And now I would like to request Madame Princess Micheline Joma. She is the President of Ocapros International NGO with special ECOSOC status at United Nations. You have the floor, Madam.
Bonsoir à tout le monde. Je te remercie de m'inviter encore une fois pour cette conférence. Cette conférence dont vous avez le courage depuis plusieurs années, plusieurs décennies d'organiser. Parce que le problème de Cachemire ne date pas d'aujourd'hui. Mes chers amis, c'est triste. C'est triste de voir comment le monde se coupe. Comment est-ce que les hommes exterminent et veulent exterminer les autres êtres humains comme eux. Cachemire, que beaucoup ne connaissent pas, Cachemire, c'est un petit royaume. Un petit royaume qui avait un roi. Et ce roi, à cause du fait que c'est un petit royaume qui est même très riche, pas son sous-sol, parce que le Cachemire est un petit pays, mais très riche dans la matière première, exactement comme l'Afrique. L'Afrique aujourd'hui vit aussi le même scénario que le Cachemire. Tous les jours, on entend des assassinats, on entend des cris par-ci par-là. L'homme prend le fusil, il tue l'homme, il tue la femme, il tue l'enfant. Est-ce que c'est ce monde que nous voulons pour nous ou est pour nos enfants? Non. Je voudrais dire mes félicitations et le courage de vous là, de ces hommes qui organisent chaque année. Vous prenez le courage d'organiser cet événement parce que vous avez la foi qu'à partir de cet événement, vous pouvez avoir une détermination, la liberté de vivre, le droit d'exister. Mais malheureusement, le combat reste encore très long. ce petit problème, c'est là. Ce n'est pas la première fois que je parle de ça ici. C'est très beau ce que vous faites. Mais je ne peux pas continuer à parler, à donner des idées, à réfléchir avec vous, tant que les gens ne comprennent pas la langue que je suis en train de parler. Parce que c'est très important de prendre une personne et de lui donner 50 francs, il vient faire l'interprétation ici pour que tout le monde soit au courant de ce qui se passe. Parce que je veux parler ici, les gens ne vont pas comprendre. J'ai fait beaucoup de suggestions dans ce lieu, dans cette maison, mais à ma grande surprise, je constate toujours que rien n'est fait. Et ça me décourage. Oui, aujourd'hui, nous parlons des violations des droits humains, des médias, l'interdiction, n'est-ce pas, de certains pays de voir aussi le Cachemire jouir, n'est-ce pas, de ses droits fondamentaux. Franchement, je pense que le Cachemire, le peuple de Cachemire, les enfants de Cachemire, comme j'ai toujours demandé ici, vous avez intérêt de vous réunir pour devenir un, parce que l'unité fait la force. L'unité fait la force. Excusez-moi parce que je n'ai pas eu le programme, le thème de cette assise pour pouvoir préparer mieux que ce que je dis. Parce que ce que je dis vient de mon cœur. Je n'ai pas besoin d'écrire pour dire ce que moi je pense. Le Cachemire a besoin de nous tous. On peut venir chaque jour ici pour parler, mais s'il n'y a pas d'application, il n'y aura rien. Parce que j'ai proposé ici dernièrement de mettre sur pied, et ce n'était pas la première fois, mettre sur pied une commission de communication. Cette commission, je sais que je ne dis pas, peut-être que vous avez déjà cette commission de communication qui permet, n'est-ce pas, d'aller faire le lobbying, parce que vous allez envoyer des résolutions tous les jours. Mais sans le lobbying, ça n'avancera pas très vite. Ça peut prendre du temps, que ça prendra, mais tôt ou tard, Cachemire aura raison sur ses ennemis. Le Cachemire aura raison sur ses ennemis, parce que si vous, les enfants de Cachemire, vous êtes réunis dans le même esprit, faites appel aux autres, allez vers eux, dialoguez. Ne vous fâchez pas pour dire que tel est de telle fraction, tel est de telle autre fraction. Vous êtes tous les enfants du même pays et de la même nation. Donc vous avez intérêt à vous mettre ensemble pour lutter efficacement. Parce que chaque fraction qui vous attire, il ne vous attire pas parce qu'il vous aime, mais il vous attire parce qu'il voudrait soutirer la matière première de votre pays. Et vous êtes le plus pauvre. Eux, ils s'enrichissent sur votre dos. C'est la même chose que nous vivons avec les Occidentaux en Afrique. Parce qu'ils prennent les boucs émissaires, ils les mettent devant, ils les imposent au peuple, et après, celui-là, il vole avec lui le bien du peuple. Et le peuple devient pauvre, alors qu'il n'y a pas de pauvreté. Donc, s'il vous plaît, mes frères, mes sœurs, faisons quelque chose qui puisse être profitable pour Cachemire. Moi, je regarderai par exemple, parce que chaque jour, moi, c'est catastrophique ce que je vois sur Internet. Cachemire, aujourd'hui, avec les tueries, chaque jour, on dit on a tué des gens. Chaque jour, on a tué des gens. Mais qu'est-ce que ça va finir quand? Quand est-ce que ça prendra fin? On a besoin aussi un jour de quitter ici pour aller au Cachemire. Fêter la victoire de l'autodétermination. Ça fait des décennies que cela dure. Et c'est triste. C'est triste, c'est triste. On a besoin de cette liberté pour ce peuple, pour ces femmes qui meurent chaque jour, les enfants qu'on tue chaque jour, ceux qu'on envoie dans les armées pakistanais et indiennes et autres. Les Chinois de l'autre côté, ils sont là. Comme se cache le tigre dans la brousse pour attraper l'animal. Il est de ce côté. Il guette la matière première. Le Pakistan est là, il guette. L'Inde est là, il guette. Vous n'avez personne, je vous en prie. Ne croyez pas que vous avez un ami parmi eux. Tous sont des grands prédateurs. Alors, remettez-vous ensemble pour revendiquer vos droits. Vous revendiquez le droit du peuple de Cachemire. Les femmes en souffrent, les enfants en souffrent. Moi, je ne serai pas là. C'est tout ce que je vous demande. Seulement, constituer l'équipe en question. Cette commission d'investigation, cette commission de communication qui vont aller vers les institutions internationales, vers tous ces grands pays, pour, n'est-ce pas, plaidoyer pour que vous puissiez avoir votre indépendance. Vous pensez que ça se prend, ils vont pas vous faire cadeau. Mais il faut prendre des gens solides. Je sais que vous êtes intelligents et il y a des intellectuels parmi vous. Regardez aussi du côté de la société civile, les ONG qui nous aident. Qui est-ce que nous pouvons aussi intégrer dans notre équipe pour aller vers ce prédateur pour essayer de faire le prédateur. Ça, c'est très important. Moi, je ne serai pas long. Je vous remercie beaucoup de m'avoir invité et que Dieu vous bénisse.
We are thankful to you for your presence and your kind words and support for Kashmiri people. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Mudir Negal. He is the President of Lord Vice Association. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Sardar Nasir Aziz Khan. I am highly thankful to UKPNP and Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, the chairman of UKPNP, for organizing such events, even giving us information that how the societies can live. Unfortunately, why we are here, this is a big question for me. This is a big question for me, that why I am here. The Kashmir, that was a region, they are the peoples, they have a civilization, they have a history of thousands of years. But why they are here? Actually, when the subcontinent was divided on the name of religion, and these were the Kashmiri people who became the first victim of the religion. Pakistan postured them that the Kashmir is an issue of religion, and that a big part of the world, particularly petrodollar, was used to eliminate the Kashmiris. And today is a shame day for all those states that they supported Pakistan on the name of religion, that these are the people, these should be used as militants
of madrasas as militants of religious terrorism, and the land of Kashmir should be gifted to a religion, not to the people of Kashmir. For that they have struggled. This party, these people, they have sacrificed for more than 70 years. And that's why today the voice of the real Kashmiri is growing. That's why today people from different parts of the world, even in this conference, the people from different parts of the Europe are present. We have seen the people from different parts of the world have participated and supported UKPNP, and that's why we are here. We are supporting that no land should be gifted to any religion for sponsoring terrorism. And for that state has used the petrodollar money, the weapons of the Western world, used a state complete structure, civil administration, bureaucracy, madrasas, that there's a jihad in Kashmir, that they have been recruiting the people. And this has been done even in this year. We have seen that the people from different parts of Pakistan were recruited and sent to Afghanistan for jihad. So opposing an ideology where not only one state is involved, there are many states who supported that ideology is a big struggle. For that the Kashmiris have given their blood. You should imagine this thing, that a Pakistan which has an army of more than 500,000 people, and that's an atomic state, where inside that part, these people, they have opposed their narrative. They not only struggling over here, they are doing this, they have been doing this inside over there. They are going to the mountains, to the towns, to the valleys, educating their people that this narrative is not for you. This narrative of religious terrorism has eliminated our generations, is eliminating our generations, and will eliminate our generations. I salute you for that, sir. I salute actually UKPNP for that political ideology, that the people of Kashmir need peace, the people of Kashmir need freedom, the people of Kashmir are democratic people. Secondly, in the whole globe, today I find only one piece of land, that is Kashmir, which is being ruled by a land officer. Imagine this thing. Is there any country in any part of the world where there is a land officer? Land officer means a member who is superior than the political structure, superior than the judiciary structure, superior than the normal administration, and he is being appointed by a foreign country, and he is the nominee of that country, and none of the Kashmiris can be a land officer. So this is a clear sign of colonization. I, as the principal representative of Center for Peace and Gender Justice, I request from all other NGO members, particularly ECOSOC NGO members, that we should ask United Nations that this is a high time. They have sacrificed a lot. At least UN shall take an initiative to fulfill her own only first part of resolution. That resolution says that Pakistan should take her army from the Kashmir parts. So this is high time at the occasion of this 50th Human Rights Council session. I, from my NGO, and request other NGO members that we should send a letter to the President of Human Rights Council session and to the heads of the treaty bodies, asking United Nations, please fulfill just one part of your resolution that asks Pakistan to take your forces out of Kashmir. I am highly thankful to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Great Mengal. We are friends, we are associates, and we have been working together in UN, and we will continue our work. and hopefully we will get success, freedom, rights, everything. Nothing is impossible in this world. When we struggle, we can get freedom, we can get our rights, we can get our land. Like Bangladesh is a good example. It was a part of Pakistan, but they fought for their rights, their freedom, and they got freedom. And one day we will get freedom as well. Now I would like to give floor to Sajid Hussain. He is the Secretary Information, United Kashmir People's National Party, Europe Zone. And we have two more speakers, and we will try to conclude as soon as possible. And I request Mr. Sajid Hussain.
Two or three.
Maybe four.
Thank you, Nasra. Respected ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for us. We are organizing this event on the 50th session of UNHRC, where freedom of expression and freedom of speech has been discussed in detail. Unfortunately, due to renovation work and post-COVID, we are unable to organize events inside, but the civil society and its president and its members are present here, and it is a great honor for us. We can share our views, we can share our miseries, our deprivation. So, respected ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Jammu Kashmir is a historical state, and historical nation never ever surrender in front of oppressor like Pakistan army, or you can call it establishment. And unitedly we stand against these oppressors. I really feel happy when I see here the activists from deprived nation and nationalities. They are talking about Jammu and Kashmir and their miseries and their deprivations. And I think our struggle is on next level, reached on next level, because we are very much confident with each other. And whenever I see the human rights defender from deprived communities, for example, Baloch, are talking about Kashmiri's rights. Pashtun are extending their solidarity with Kashmiris. Sindhis are extending solidarity with Kashmiris. Kashmiris are extending solidarity with other nationalities. I think this is a unique example. And this is the need of time. At least we are united against these oppressors, our enemies. They are strong, and they are trying to oppress us. They are trying to victimize us. Respected ladies and gentlemen, Jammu and Kashmir, the people from Jammu and Kashmir are lack economic rights, social rights, and cultural rights. And even we do not have a right to development and right to life as well. Respected participants, one more thing which I would like to add here, we must focus on the cultural rights, because cultural rights are also human rights. If the deprived nation and nationalities culture has been flourished, then their oppressor cannot be able to damage their nation and their culture. Particularly, I will talk about the language was spoken in POP, Pahari language, Gojri language, and on the other side, Kashmiri language. But what the oppressor did with us, They have influenced our culture. And even though in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, we never ever seen they have included our languages in our census. They have tried to profile our languages in their census. And these languages are in danger. So I would like to draw your attention on these cultural rights, because cultural rights are human rights. And our human rights defender, I have seen here, mostly they are frontline human rights defender. And they are actually, if they promote their culture, then definitely we preserve our history as well as culture. Respected ladies and gentlemen, I do not take too much time, because we have a shortage of time. But I'm going to conclude on freedom of expression and freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and all those freedoms which we are striving for. Before, in previous seminars and conferences, we quote a clause, a nationalist in Pakistani occupied Jammu and Kashmir cannot take part in elections. Before our party, UKPNP, headed by Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, was registered in Pakistani occupied Jammu and Kashmir, but we quote that clause at that time: no person or political party shall be take part in election which is prejudicial or detrimental to the state accession, ideology of the state accession to Pakistan. But the nations are progressing, the countries are progressing. But in case of Jammu and Kashmir, they have introduced new clauses. Now, in Act 2020, they have introduced new clauses and put more restriction on us. And everybody, every political party who want to register in POK, they must declare a loyalty to Pakistan. No political party can be formed which actually elaborate our opinion, which is prejudicial or detrimental to the state accession of Pakistan. They have introduced new clauses. So it's mean our struggle, we have to do more and more struggle. We have to expand our alliances, and we have to add more people in our struggle. So these are the short submissions in today's conference which I have elaborated. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. You have raised very valid points. Now I would like to give floor to Ms. Rangeza Noor. She is the human rights activist and activist of PTM, Pashtun Tafaz movement, and at that region, women are very much deprived. Madam, you have the floor.
Bonjour, good evening everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It's a great honor. In these helpless situations, I'm very hopeful to see that nations like Kashmir, Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan are standing for their human rights, the basic human rights, and standing against a country who occupied them. So it's really something to make me happy. Dear brother and sister, our pain, our sorrow, our dreams are same. We have very huge similarity with you people. We can feel you very well because we all fight for peace, for freedom, for having our very basic rights for our land, for our natural resources, and for our occupations by a terrorist country called Pakistan. As you know, I will not go forward, but I will talk about these 20 years. We dream about democracy in Afghanistan. we dream of a free Afghanistan, an educated new generation, a country where women and men can have equal rights. But what happened and how it happens, everyone can see the situations. So I will not talk too much, but I will shortly say that right now what is happening in Afghanistan inside or in Pakhtunkhwa, it's like Pashtun genocide. It's a great plan for Pashtun people. I strongly believe that no one is born as a terrorist and no one is born as a good man or a good woman. We all are human beings. Society makes us like that. So a country we call Pakistan is unfortunately not a country. For me, Pakistan is a terrorist producing company. It's like a cancer. If we don't treat it, it will spread not only to Asia, but to whole world around. You can see that. I will shortly say what the situation in Afghanistan is. As I told before, that these are a really helpless situation. We lost our country. We lost our democracy. We lost the right of education. Look, I would like to ask the United Nations, human rights, and all around the countries, can you imagine just one day a group of tourists stop your children for not going to school? Just one day. Not allowing your girls to go to school. What would be your reaction? But it's happening. It's happening right now on the same planet in our world, in 21st century, in Afghanistan, that girls are not allowed to go to school almost for 1 year. And that boys are sending to madrasas to brainwash and make them suicide bombers. We have no women ministry. As a woman, I would ask, how do I feel right now? I'm not allowed to work. I'm not allowed to go outside of the house. I'm not even allowed to wear what I would like to wear. I will get punished for that. It doesn't matter if I have a husband. It doesn't matter if I'm a widow. It doesn't matter if I have even a man at home. But nobody is asking that. Nobody is interested at that. If I have a job, I'm not allowed. I have no peace. I have no freedom. I have no any equal rights. I'm like a second level human beings of there. It's really shameful. It's really shameful. And this group of terrorists were producing Pakistan. They were getting support in Pakistan. They were living there. They are still getting support of Pakistan. So why? I'm asking always, why if we have a bad products? So why we should talk about products? We should talk about the company. Here, the question is, Kashmir people are suffering from occupations. Baloch people are suffering. Why? They have natural resources. They have their own beautiful cultures. They have their own languages. They have their own people. They have no freedom, no peace, nothing. They are just called terrorists. They are dying every day. They have no basic human rights. Why? Why nobody is talking about this company? This is Pakistan. They are producing terrorists for every country. I lost my country. I have no identity. Can someone feel that? I'm not allowed to take my flag. I'm not allowed to hear my national anthems. I'm not allowed to wear my traditional clothes. I'm not allowed to go to school to have education. I'm in my country. I'm not allowed to go outside. So being alive is not only important. Right now, Afghans, especially Pashtuns, are just alive. Why? Do not we have right of living our life? Do we deserve that? Do we have second-hand, first-hand people? Do we have any special kind of definition? The same is happening in Pakistan with Kashmiris, with Baloch, with I'm speechless that in 21st century, we are seeing this situation. I would like to just shortly share some information. 50,000 Afghan victims, information of them to the ICG, or the International Court of Justice in Hague, as the PTM has done that. These all international organizations should hear our voice. They should react to that. Not only hearing our voices is important, they should react, they must react. We are creating, we are human beings. We have dreams, we have wishes, we have desire. And the most important point is, we have the land where we have everything. We don't ask for money, we don't ask for any help, any material. We have them. We are the richest people. We have natural resources, which are right. The whole world is interested in that. Otherwise, they would never done that, to taking Taliban from blacklist and giving them visa, invitation, Doha conference, everything. Without helping world, we would not close Afghanistan today. World is responsible for that. Whole nations, doesn't matter if this is Kashmir, we have the same story. We suffer the same. We have the same pain. It doesn't matter if it's Kashmir, Balochistan, Pakhtunkhwa, Afghanistan. Where is? Why nobody hear us? We cannot even produce a plastic. Where do all weapons come? Who giving them? Pain is not coming to us. We don't want it even. We will do that by ourselves, no problem. But don't send, this is my request from the whole world. Please stop, don't send us weapons. Let us live our life. Thank you so much. I would just say once again, treat this cancer of producing terrorists to the Asia, to Afghanistan, to Balochistan, to everyone. Otherwise, it will spread to you people at home. It's like a warning. Don't do that to us. You are doing that to us today. It will happen to you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, you have raised the issues of women facing in Afghanistan. And we have seen that when NATO withdrew from Afghanistan, and there was a government in Afghanistan, they didn't hand over military hardware to that government, they handed over it to Taliban. And everybody knows they are the most rude and brutal force in this world, if we compare at that region, South Asian region. And they consider women as a property, private property. And Western countries who claim that they are democratic, and then they are negotiating with Taliban and all extremist groups, they should think about the feelings of the people who are facing in their regions like Afghanistan, Balochistan, Pakhtunkhwa, Kashmir, even Syria and other places of the world. They must revisit their policies. Now, I would thank you very much, our friends, for your presence here. We know you have other engagements and very welcome in our conference. Now, I would like to give floor to Mrs. Katala. She wants to say a few words. Madam, you have the floor, please.
Bonjour à tout le monde. Je voulais juste remercier l'Assemblée d'abord de m'avoir invité, malgré l'absence de M. Katala, avec tous les hommages et condoléances que j'accepte à mon nom, au nom de la famille de M. Katala et au nom de son organisation AIPDGN, Action internationale pour la paix et le développement dans la région des Grands Lacs, que je représente ici. L'organisation est en train de se réorganiser et ça va continuer. AIPD, soit M. Katala, a toujours soutenu le peuple cachemérien dans leur lutte pour leur liberté. Je n'ai pas vraiment beaucoup à dire aujourd'hui. Je voulais juste remercier les hommages et les condoléances et aussi encourager le peuple cachemérien à déployer tous les moyens, toutes les forces, toutes les stratégies, les dialogues qui pourraient leur sortir de cette situation, parce que la liberté, ça s'arrache. Ça ne se prend pas sur un plateau. Donc il faut déployer tous les moyens, malgré le temps que ça va prendre. Parce que la vérité triomphe toujours. Voilà, c'est tout ce que j'avais à dire. Il faut continuer.
Yes, definitely. We will continue. Thank you, Madam. Thank you.
On est avec vous.
Now I would like to give floor to Mr. Mehman. He is the activist from Turkey. Please, you have the floor, please. Professor Mehman.
Many thanks for inviting me for the speech. And what I will say may be something different in general. And when we look at here, and it is said freedom of expression in Pakistan, it's looked like Jammu and Kashmir. When we talk about Jammu and Kashmir, let's go in 1945, during the Second World War. The territory is a princeless state under the colonial empire, that is the United Kingdom. And when the United Nations was established, the territory is defined under Chapter 11, non-self-governing territory, and it was a colony. And what is today the territory? Because if we define the territory of Kashmir, princely state of Kashmir, we will understand in real politics what we can do here. I mean, when we say real politics doesn't mean that what is as of today, but what we have the capacity. I mean, when we say the capacity in international relations, there is a magical point. That is, how the international treaties are signed and ratified. When we say that, that is for the fifth session of the Human Rights Council, it means the consent of the states that are bound by the Human Rights Treaties of the United Nations. But if we define the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, but the consent of the state, that is here, Pakistan, is not important. Because if we well define the territory of Kashmir, then Article 103 of the United Nations Charter is valid. It means that we give obligations for a state that is Pakistan without its consent. Now, the problem of the non-defining the territory of Jammu and Kashmir till this time is the real mistake of all of us till this time. If Jammu and Kashmir was a colony at the time of decolonization, and today, when you say that it's under the occupation of Pakistan, then who owns the land of Kashmir in the United Nations legal system? I mean, I would like to say something. Decolonization has many problems, and when we look at the decolonization in the world as a whole, there is no justice. But we don't have any other thing. when we create the obligation by the right definition of the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, then it is really one changing word can change everything for the real politics. This is not my choice. This is what in real politics someone can make. And it is that instead of using occupied, because the United Nations Security Council defined the Kashmir issue in a different manner of the United Nations at that time when the colonization is not accepted as a European stone. I would like to make a difference between the so much using the wording of the self-determination in the sense of Kashmir, because in the world some remedial situation movements are using the word of self-determination, and there's a misunderstanding of the self-determination in the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. What we say in the colonization is subject to Article 73 of the UN Charter, and there is not the wording of the self-determination in that sense. And it is defined during the UN Security Council resolutions in the process clause. When you read it, it's the verdict of the people, and at that time it's not used as the self-determination. But as of today, the self-determination or the verdict of the people, or decolonization, not for the minority rights, is accepted across the norm, a European norm, and it is accepted as European norm, and the verdict of the people on the decolonization is a binding. When we say it is binding, then we return back to the resolutions of the United Nations Security Council. It was accepted at that time, Chapter 6 of the UN Charter. It was not binding. But as of today, Chapter 7 of the UN Charter is accepted if you go to the, or anybody goes to the International Court of Justice for this issue. And when it is binding, then we have got the self-determination referendum. But when it is self-determination referendum, there is a definition of the territory. The definition of the territory, by not defining with another word, makes Pakistan as an administrative state. When Pakistan becomes an administrative state, it means that the territory does not decolonize yet. And when it is not decolonized yet, we have got a choice of asking for everybody here to put Kashmir in the decolonization list. It can go for a different position.
Sir, would you conclude, because we are supposed to conclude it in
okay.
7.
So
we are running out of the time.
if we define Jammu and Kashmir territory as a non-decolonized place, under the principles of leaving no one behind, Pakistan government, also Indian government, needs to give every year a special report to the Secretary General on the aspects and the rights of the people, and which means that the Pakistan government, also Indian government, has a responsibility to the United Nations Decolonization Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. India was divided on the basis of religion. Kashmir was not part of India, and Pakistan invaded, forcibly divided our state. And when we talk about the territory of Kashmir, India, Pakistan, Great Britain, they were agreed about the whole territory which we are having, or India, Pakistan are claiming, and we had resolutions on Kashmir which asked Pakistan to withdraw its troops from Kashmir immediately, forthwith. She didn't comply with these resolutions, and since 1947 we are divided. Now I would like to give floor to Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri. He is the chairman of United Kashmir People's National Party and Secretary General of Jammu and Kashmir International People's Alliance. You are the floor.
Dear comrades, representative of different ECOSOC organizations, representative of the growth nation,
Foundation and the other our comrades from different part of the world. First of all, I would like to thank you for your participation, for your cooperation, for your support. Before I say something, this years we lost our most respected, great human being and promoters and protectors of the human rights of the Kashmiri peoples and all over the world, the great Morris Katara and Dr. Muluka. Both are our friends, our comrades, and you know, in our every conference they were present, presented the papers and contributions, but unfortunately now they are not with us. But they always remember in our memories, and those people who carry their missions, we hope that our relationship should be continued, and we need your help. Dear friends, there are many researchers, professors, and representatives of different people who always try to confuse the people that the state of Jammu Kashmir is our motherland. Its history, we know its history, its territory, and we know who is the enemy of the day and who occupied and who divided forcibly our motherland. It's very much clear what Kashmir is. Maybe someone who think about that why we are not talking about the other part of state of Jammu Kashmir which is under Indian administration. I just say in one sentence that there are some powerful forums like OIC on behalf of Pakistan. They are always talking about in United Nations and others. So we think that issues are addressed, but the most deprived area under Pakistan, like Pakistan and UK, in the Muslim world, no one is ready to ask Pakistan to comply with United Nations resolutions, including my friend. I respect him to her. It is his view, his findings. But he never ever include one sentence regarding the miseries of the country Pakistan, the people who live under Pakistani occupation. And he is actually trying to define the territory. The territory has been defined. There is no dispute about the territory. Dispute is who is the occupier and who is not. And some few participants try to confuse on this issue. Their agenda is promoting religion. Their agenda is promoting hatred. Their agenda is Kashmir divided on the basis of religion. They did not understand how many years we have in common shared history. But they are playing with the devil. So that's why the state of Jammu Kashmir is the state of the Kashmiris. whether they lived in Jammu, whether they lived in Ladakh, whether they lived in Gilgit, Baltistan, or so-called Azad Kashmir. It's our land. It is our motherland. There is no confusion in the mind of any Kashmir. Maybe some people confused through the propaganda of the states. We are not become fool. We are not confused because we know our culture, we know our common commonalities. So state of Jammu Kashmir is one political entity which was forcibly divided by the aggressions, divided by the invaders, and ultimately the case was discussed in United Nations Security Council. Who bring these issues? It was the India. When the Kashmiris said, we have a title, this title was the United Nations Security Council. So we should understand what is the jurisprudence of the United Nations resolution. There is no question of the chapter 1 or chapter 2 or chapter 5 or chapter 7. These are all things decided in the mind of the Kashmiris who is our occupier. Whether Security Council discuss this issue under chapter 5 or chapter 6 or 7. But one thing I must be clear, that both the governments, and especially the Pakistan, was agreed that she would withdraw its troops, vacate the territory which is illegally occupied. So there was not the question, United Nations sent the forces to vacate that territory. Before the Security Council, it was Pakistan who admitted, who accept that I must withdraw, vacate the territory. So everyone who is sympathized, who has any kind of sympathy with the state of Jammu Kashmir citizens, they must understand what the United Nations resolution, especially the resolution which was agreed both India and Pakistan. There, some Pakistani writers misquote the Indian Prime Minister. That he promised with the Kashmiris that India will hold a plebiscite. No. He addressed to the Kashmiris that your rulers signed a treaty with India. But even then, if you people are not satisfied, democratically, you have right to choose your future. Either you ratify the treaty of accession or opt the option of independence. We will not force you. That was a promise. A prime minister of the country promised with the peoples. It was not promised with the United Nations, it was not promised with the Pakistan. Pakistan was simply declared as illegal occupier. So we should understand the jurisprudence of the United Nations. The other things, Kashmiris are not part of any theo-fascist agenda. It was the people who lived in Grenada, who lived in somewhere else, with Pakistan, who sent them and forced the people to join hands. And this territory, which is known as Azad Kashmir, Mr. Jamil Maqsood actually explained. I don't like to repeat those things which already explained. And I know that you are very tired. But one thing more be clear. Why Pakistan officially declared this area is a base camp? What it means? this land is for the training camps. It is for the trainings, military trainings. Pakistan brought some Afghans, some other parts, and give them training, and then send back to destabilize Afghanistan, to destabilize other part of state of Jammu Kashmir. So it is the policy of Pakistan to promoting theofascism. We must understand what is the theofascism. If the government did not believe in dialogue, a government is not ready to give the freedom of expression to the people. If a state is not ready to give them the democratic rights, not only the Kashmiri, but the Pakistanis. And a civilian government, third-time Prime Minister, elected Prime Minister, he lived in exile. He is not dared to go back, although his brother is now again the Prime Minister. And what Mr. Nawaz Sharif said, in Pakistan, there is some agencies, some forces, they are above the state. Even when they conspired against his government, he just asked these judges, he explained actually everything. These judges of the Apex Court, they are in the alliance of the deep state. And that deep state actually behaving like the state within state or state above the state. And what he said about the intelligence agencies, because he cannot too much brave, he did not name it, but say crime makhluk. What is the meaning of crime makhluk?
Alien.
The angels.
Alien.
Aliens ruled us. It is the third time elected Prime Minister said. It is not only Shaukat Kashmiri or my colleagues or my friends. So, most of the period in Pakistan was ruled by the Germans, and still they are in power. And we are living in a cycle. Whole Afghan nation. Who is responsible? As a neighbor, it was Pakistan and Pakistani policies. They are scattered. They are living under harassment. Their future is still not in terms of better future. A lady, our sister, what she explained. Who was responsible to displace her? It was the Pakistani policies. And all these countries who claim to be a Muslim, but they are always talking about the other world. When a person, a Turkish Democrat, asking for democracy, what is his face? And Pakistan or Saudi Arabia never say one sentence in favor of him. That's why the blows are suffering. Turkey never say, these are our brothers, Muslim brothers. OIC never ever intervene for the rights of the Pashtun, although they are the Muslims. They see in the eye of Pakistan who is Muslim and who is not Muslim. Those who are demanding the basic rights from the Pakistan in the eyes of OIC and this so-called Muslim world, they are not Muslim. They are not living. They don't bother them. So we are not so stupid. We know each and everything, and it is our prime duty to raise our voices in favor of our victim, our intimidated peoples. And there is no rule of law. There is no basic rights, basic human rights. Mr. Joseph, the great person, explained some terminologies in a thematical way. But we are actually explaining the objective conditions. current situation. Then we are talking about the state of human rights. You people can imagine what kind of basic rights we have under the Pakistani territory. Even when I am talking about Pakistan, because we concerned about that. We are not concerned about the, as a human being, we are. Our demand is that human rights should be for us. It should be not divided in the national states. We have no mandate, but our people give us mandate to highlight their miseries and protect their futures, their history, their cultures. That's why we focus on the Pakistani situations. We are not bashing any country. We are very peaceful people. But those who subjugate us, who plunder our resources, at least it is our right to expose them before the world community and in all legal and constitutional and human rights forums. And we are doing this. And we continue this status. And all the oppressed nations, we were on Pashtun, Baloch, Sindhi. In 1947, forcibly imposed Pakistan on these historical nations. And maybe some accepted and some rejected this formula. Like in 1948, rebelled against this idea. Pashtun's leaders, they were not ready to join Pakistan. But it was a great gain. Under great gain, some people ready to compromise, some people did not. And many people spend many years in the prison. So, Pakistan is not a country of the Muslims. All the Muslims are subjugating and communalized. It is the state policy to communalize them. It is the state policy to radicalize them. And Pakistan policy is not allowed to dialogue with the other sect of the society. It is the Pakistani National Assembly who define our faith. Who is Muslim and who is not Muslim? There is a one sect, Ahmadi. It was declared by the National Assembly that you are no more Muslims. But they are still saying, oh no, we have same Quran, we have same Kalman, we have same tradition, and we believe. Our belief is common. Ask them, no, we don't believe. You are. No other country declared their own peoples in a highest constitutional forum that you are no more Muslim, or you are no more Hindu, or you are no more Christian. And that's why the conversion state in Pakistan, by force, and commonly the ladies who have 16 years age, 17 years age, they forcibly converted into Islam, but only 16 and 17, not above. A married woman cannot convert, an old person cannot convert, but all the young people, this formula, conversion formula is applied on them. So this situation, those people should claim that they are the representative of women, human rights defenders. They should sympathetically understand the situation and stand up, because we are human beings, we are same like you, and our women have the same sensitivity. If you privately think about them, please help them. Thank you very much.
We are now in Friday. All week was very much busy. Everybody was active since morning till evening. We have lot of events during this week, and seems everybody is tired, but it is right of every participant to, if they want to say something.